everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have not filmed for a while now, so this feels a bit bizarre if I'm being completely honest. But as you can probably see in the background, my TBR trolley is full, overflowing, and has a pile of books on the floor. Yay. I thought I would start a kind of bookish reading-y vlog, a bit of like a random one. I'm not sure when you guys would see this. I filmed a random number generator chooses the books that I read from my physical TBR video recently, and one of the books that I got was Crime and Punishment, and I have still not finished this book. I'm 280 pages through. I've been listening to the audio as well as reading it physically. I'm not loving it. It honestly just feels like a whole lot of nothing. Like, I don't understand why he's going on all these tangents about things that aren't important. I don't know if that comes around at the end and it actually is really important. I think the first thing I want to do with you guys is kind of as like a bookish video. I want to haul some books for you. I'm going to talk about the book that I just finished this morning, and then I'm also going to go through my TBR trolley with you guys and see if we can let go of anything. I'm horrific at unhauling, which is why I will never do an unhauling video. I might do like a book reorganization, unhaul and book buying thing, but I'm literally horrific at unhauling. First things first, little mini book haul. So I brought some books to go in my classroom. If you don't know, I was studying to be a primary school teacher. I was in Waterstones and I was on holiday. I saw they had buy one get one half price in the children's books. I do try to buy most of my children's books secondhand. This edition of colours everywhere, I just could not leave behind. And I also got Wolf and Bear, which is basically a story about friendship and big feelings and how you can deal with them. I could not go to Waterstones and not end up picking up anything by myself, and I'm actually really excited about both of these books. In this Waterstones, I was actually in Canterbury, I believe. That's the Waterstones that I was in the UK. It was a lovely Waterstones. I really enjoyed my time in there. It was 3 stories as well, and I ended up having a conversation with someone about Sarah J Maas, and she had just started reading the ACOTAR series, and she was lovely. I saw this, A Dawn of Onks, on the table at the bottom at the entrance. I saw Ashlyn on YouTube talk about this book and say that it was one of her favourites of the year so far, and that she was really captivated by it. It was a really great fantasy romance, and I really do trust her opinion, and this is something that I already had my eye on. I didn't realise it actually had like a paperback copy. I'd never seen it in stores before until this trip when I was in Canterbury, so I'm very excited. I really love this edition because it's super floppy. Only downside is it is the start of a series, but it's okay. I'm very excited about this. I believe it has Faye in it. And then this next one I am so unbelievably excited about because somewhere along the grapevine I have missed the memo with this. I picked up The Serpent and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, which is the part of the Nightborn duet, I believe. Now, this is a completely different cover to anyone that I've seen before. These have just come out in the UK, just published. The second book in the series is going to be coming out in July, is what the Waterstones assistant was telling me, because she's read both of them. We had a good gush about this, and I have been wanting to read the series for so long. It's in my Amazon wish list. Yeah. Then we went to a charity shop when we were in a place called Hastings. It's kind of like in the south of the UK, coastal vibes. We wanted to sit down and read on the beach a little bit, but I left my books that I brought with me on holiday in the car, and I also left these 2 in the car, so I couldn't even start a new one because, yeah. But when we were in the charity shop, I got so lucky in the charity shop. I actually saw another Sarah Adams book in there as well, but I just really wanted to limit myself because I'm already a bit overwhelmed about my TBR size. But I ended up getting The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson, and this is one that I finished this morning actually, and do you know what? I enjoyed it. There was a bit of weirdness going on. I was warned by one of my friends that this had a bit of like weirdness in, but if you like Bride, this is really recommended to you to read if you enjoyed Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And I can see why, and in some ways this is almost better than Bride, but it's missing that vampiric vibe. In other ways, there was definitely a very cringy, smutty scene in here for me, unfortunately. I normally can get behind almost all the smut. The knotting was not as like confusing as Ali Hazelwood. It wasn't really kind of gone into depth in here. It's just kind of like a thing that happens, and you can choose to Google it or not. I know what it is based on reading Ali Hazelwood's, but I feel like because it wasn't as much described, it wasn't as like off-putting per se as what it came across in Ali Hazelwood's Bride. I really enjoyed both of them. I think I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. I really did enjoy them. I just found it a bit weird with like the perfumes or something, what they're calling it. And also I have to show you guys this iconic magnet bookmark that I got when I was on holiday as well. And I actually have another one, but I don't remember where I put it. It might be on my bedside table already. But it says, "It's not smart, it's literature." So I actually showed off my kind of spreadsheets, not that anything important, in my random number generator video, but I've kind of got a key here. So here's all the books that I've had prior to 2023 when I started formally tracking things like this. Here's everything that I purchased in 2023 in purple, and then pink means that I was gifted it in 2023. This deep green here is what I've brought in 2024, and this blue is gifted in 2024. So in terms of May, we ended April with 69 books on my physical TBR, as you can tell here. However, I did get 3 books gifted to me from my partner Luke for finishing university, and I chose them. So yeah, those are gifted books. Then I have 5 down here that are past the April mark and are not gifted, in which case we need to unhaul at least 5 books. Now, in all honesty, if we're going to unhaul from anywhere, I think it's got to be from the prior to 2023 section, because these have been on my TBR for a very long time. So I would ideally really like to have all of my books on my physical TBR trolley. The thing is, my TBR trolley is so right now, and don't get me wrong, I have space on my new shelf set up, but I don't want to be putting unread books on my shelves. I've always had this thing where my unread books are separate to my read, and I don't really want to have to change that. So let's just see what we can do with what we've got at this current moment in time and see if we can sort it out. I have this pile of books right here. These are the ones that I couldn't fit onto my TBR trolley. Now, this one, Twisted Hate, is not actually on my physical TBR. It is one that I am borrowing from my mum because I don't own the Twisted series by Anna Huang personally. I have 2 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul that just wouldn't fit on because they have to go on the top shelf. The Witch's Kiss by Catherine Elizabeth Kaur. I picked this up from my like local secondhand bookstore and I really just thought it sounded good. I'm also just kind of like, is this targeted at a younger audience than maybe what I would enjoy, because it is aimed at a teenage witch. She's a teenage witch. She's trying not to be a witch, but she actually is. And then a guy called Jack comes into her life, can't help falling under his spell. One problem, he's part of an evil, centuries-old curse that Mary now has to break. If Mary has lost her heart, will she lose her life too? Or can true love's kiss save the day? Being a witch is dangerous, but being in love is even worse. Also, I want to preface this by saying I have signed up to an Illumicrate subscription, which is a UK-based book subscription. You can get it in the US as well, I believe. I finally got to the top of their waiting list, and I've been on very loose waiting lists for a very long time as well, but I finally got to the top of a waiting list for a book box and I'm very excited about it. So I also know that I'm going to be getting in a book every month, so I'm kind of trying to slow my purchases now, especially because I brought the book box with like the merch in as well. I'm not sure about this one, but I think I'm going to put it to the side as like a maybe. I kind of want to look up some reviews maybe and some like people's opinions on it. This is another book on this pile, Dance of Thieves by Mary A. Pearson. I tried to start this, it was very slow, and from rereading the synopsis it sounds like it's going to be like a Six of Crows type story, and honestly I enjoyed the first book in Six of Crows. I couldn't finish the second book and I just don't really see myself being interested in this anymore. I'm not very interested in it anymore, so I think I want to unhaul this one. Here is another difficult choice as well because I only just brought some of these. This is the Live Ship trilogy from Robin Hobb, the second in her Elderlings world, I believe, and I do eventually want to get around to this. However, this is currently taking up a massive chunk of TBR shelf space. And honestly, talking about it in retrospect, I brought these two when we first moved in because I saw them at my secondhand charity shop. I was very excited to see them. However, there is a secondhand bookstore near me who literally has each and every single one of these in this mass market paperback edition, the whole series, so I didn't need to buy them when I did. I don't need them now, and now's not the time that I'm going to be reading them, and that's so harsh. And I do look forward to reading the series and continuing the series. I'm excited by this series still, but I just think it's the wrong time for me to own the whole series. I've really tried to stop doing that, buying the whole series, especially when it comes to epic high fantasy, because it's just too much for me and I get a bit overstimulated. So I think I'm going to unhaul those too. However, I am going to keep hold of Shipper Magic. So Belladonna is new to me. I brought this month. I'm very excited by this. Guild by Raven Kennedy, I'm still excited by. Still really want to get round to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I actually do need to get round to this sometime soon, because if I haven't got round to this by the end of the year, best believe it's going to have to be unhauled, because I cannot own such a stunning edition and not read it. This Iron Flame, I cannot believe I haven't finished this. I think this could be the book that I read today, to be honest, because I am on page 370. I should definitely finish this, and I have actually a member of staff that a colleague that I work with is reading this currently as well, so I've got a lot of encouragement for this. A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. I'm so excited, and I do want to read it. So, and it's a fae fantasy romance, I believe. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Guys, I brought this because everyone and their mum was talking about it, but I'm honestly not sure if it was for me. And I sometimes do this where I buy things that I know aren't necessarily for me, but I buy them for the sake of having them because everyone loves them. And I am intrigued and I do want to read it. I just never really feel the vibe to. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I have owned this for a decent amount of time. I brought this when I was in college. This has to go. It's been with me for 4 years, going on 5 years, so this needs to go. That's ridiculous. It can't be here since college. Throne of the Fallen by Karen Misco. I really want to read this. This is also another May purchase, the new Emily Henry book, Funny Story. I'm, again, very excited to read this. This was the third book that I took on holiday with me, but I ended up reading, what was that Lana Ferguson one that I just read? I ended up reading The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson instead, because this was in my car. Otherwise I would have started this, and this would have been the book that I had just finished this morning. Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I'm definitely holding on to. 2 volumes of Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm going to hold on to these as well. We've got Light Lark by Alex Aster. Very excited about this one still. Still excited by This Vicious Grace by Emily Thede. The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. It is Brandon Sanderson for me. Oh my god, I'm very excited about this. Again, this is one from my local charity shop. Oh my god, The Song of the Marked. I was so excited about this, and then I heard really bad reviews. I still want to hold on to it for now. I'm not feeling as intrigued by it as I was at one point, which is really gut-wrenching, but I'm sure one day I will feel into it. I'm gonna hold on to Game of Retribution by Scarlett St. Clair because I do want to continue this series. I just got a bit bored of Scarlett St. Clair's writing. 9,000. This has got to go in the maybe pile as well, because this is Dark Academia. I don't love Dark Academia, and I have not read this, but I have literally the special sprayed edge edition from Waterstones. It's actually the Waterstones exclusive edition, and I've never read it. Please tell me you think I should or shouldn't. It's a nice floppy edition, but I am honestly not sure if this is for me. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile as well. This series, I've tried to start this second book multiple times. I really enjoyed the first book, Discovery of Witches. Tried to start this multiple times, could not get into it. I don't know if I'm ready to not give it a go. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile for now and then see how I'm feeling by the end. Quite a few romances coming up, which honestly, romances are the books that cycle through my TBR the most often. If I'm buying romances, a lot of the time I have read the romances that I have brought. It's kind of more the thrillers and some fancy romances that end up not being read. So I think I'm going to keep all of these. So I have The Turn of the Key by Leah Lewis. This is probably the oldest romance on my shelves right now, but I'm still excited by it. It's a second chance romance, which I don't read very often, but I am excited. Meet Me by the Lake by Carly Fortune is an older one as well, from last year I believe. So is Wishlist and Road Trips. But then these two are from this year. We've got The Nanny by Lana Ferguson that I was talking about earlier, and Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. As I've got Secretly Yours by Tess Bailey, which is obviously a romance. I've kind of gone off her writing, but I do want to hold on to it for now. And then we've also got Emily Henry's You and Me on Vacation, which I did get Ray Jackson do before putting it down. I need to read this, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delilah Owens, because I want to watch the show with my friend, and my friend's read the book and she really enjoyed it. Take a break to chug some of my tea, and then we're going to keep going through. Okay, continuing on with this second shelf, I have Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Still excited about this, gonna hold on to that. This is another one that I need to just hurry up and read, The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. I was gifted this by my partner's family friend, and I still have not read this. She gifted me the first 2 in this series, and I will be seeing her soon, so it would probably be good to read this at some point. Misery by Stephen King. I'm going to keep it for now. Sex Education is relatively new to me, so I'm going to keep hold of that. Still really want to read The Institute by Stephen King. This one looks like it's read because I brought it and my mum read it. She said it was very slow, but she did enjoy it, so I do want to hold on to that. These next 3 are kind of tricky ones. I think my time to read Colleen Hoover is just done. I don't think I'm going to read this. I don't think I have any interest in reading it over other books that are sat in front of me. Bunny by Mona Awad, I'm going to put in the maybe pile along with Lessons in Chemistry. I really want to read Lessons in Chemistry, but it's just not a type of book that I read a lot of. And I know people argue, you know, just because you don't read a lot of it doesn't mean you don't read it, but I tend to dislike books like this. And yeah, Bunny is going in the maybe pile because I have, again, had this since college and I still have not read it. However, it is like pristine condition, same as Lessons in Chemistry, so I need to make a decision on that one. I know I'm definitely going to be keeping these 2. I'm going to keep A Game of Gods by Scarlett Sinclair. I accidentally brought the last book in the series instead of another one. And I'm also going to keep The Misses by E.L. James because, again, I accidentally brought the second instead of the first, but I do plan to read this. Glint is the second in the Raven Kennedy series that I'm very excited to read, and I only brought this one because it's in the trash shops. Also, we've got Mistborn book 2 down here by Brandon Sanderson, which is The Well of Ascension, which I'm going to hold on to as well because I talked about that earlier. These are tricky. Okay, I want to keep the sequel one because this was gifted to me and I don't want to get rid of this until like I've at least tried the series. Honestly guys, The Green Mile by Stephen King, I've had this for the longest time. Am I going to read it? It is such an intriguing concept, but it's also very dark. I just don't think I'm ever going to actually read it. I think it's one of those books that I like. I think it sounds good and that's why I've always held on to it, but I don't think I'm actually going to get around to reading it. I cannot tell you when I've read a horror this year. From Luke Off of Love, this is a Marion Zapata. I'm not sure I was thinking it through when I brought this. I think I could have gone without this on my TBR, but now that I have it on my TBR, I'm going to hold on to it and see how I go. Some of these are making me sad because it's like I've got The Christmas Murder Game here by Alexandra Benedict, and I brought this as part of the 3 for £6 and it does sound interesting, but I'm like, am I actually going to read it? I think I'm going to keep this for this Christmas, and if I don't read it this Christmas, it's going. To be fair, these 2 books were part of a book video that I never ended up filming, which was like wintry book reads, but I was struggling with my mental health quite significantly at the end of last year. How the Dead Speak by Val McDermid, I'm going to hold on to because my mum has read this and she actually keeps telling me that I need to read this. Same goes for The Chain by Adrian McKinty. I haven't read this, but I should. Deep Fear by Rachel Lynch. This sounds so intriguing. Okay, do you know what? I think I need to read the synopsis of all of these thrillers, which I've done before with you guys and I still ended up getting rid of nothing, but let's just give it a go. I know I just said that Colleen Hoover is time for me to read. Colleen Hoover has just left the building, but has it? Should I read this? It kind of gives similar vibes to Verity, and I know a lot of people said that Verity was very unique, but these seem very similar vibe. I know this one is in collaboration with Taryn Fisher, but yeah, I don't know, I feel like my time is over for it now. It's done. And the rest in here, minus this little stack that I've got in front of me, are classics. So we definitely need to whittle down the classic collection because this is unrealistic for someone who barely touches classics. Sorry, one sec. I really had a moment last year where I thought I was going to be a classics girl. I'm just not. Any love and respect that I had for classics honestly died in my A-level of English. Look how many classics I have for a girl who doesn't read classics very often. I think it's finally time to let go of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is a beautiful edition. I got it from my friend who decluttered their books. I've not read it. I was given it in college. I'm not going to read it. Yeah, people love this. They said it was Dracula vibes. I've read Dracula. I don't think I need to read this. Why does this feel so therapeutic? These ones are going to hurt me because these three here, I think I can just get rid of. I brought these on the 3 for 2 in Waterstone in the works because I got excited by them. Sorry guys, my phone went out of storage and I'm filming on it today, but yeah. I'm gonna get rid of all of those 3 that I was showing you. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz is obviously a classic for children, so I do want to hold on to that one, and I love that cover. And then I've also got Peter Pan, which I am a Peter Pan lover, and then I've also got Anne of Green Gables. This was mainly purchased because I read a children's book, where is it, Pages and Co, I believe, and Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea was in this book, and I still am intrigued by it. Then I've got Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and I've got Picture of Dorian Gray. I loved Pride and Prejudice, but I don't think I need to read Sense and Sensibility. I'm gonna unhaul. The Picture of Dorian Gray, I still really want to read this. This has got a very intriguing concept, and I do enjoy Oscar Wilde's writing style in terms of classics. Moving on to the thriller stack, which honestly has dwindled a lot. There's 2 missing, I believe, that we've gone through so far, but yeah, there's only 2 for 6 here. Let's see, if I could at least get rid of 2, I think I'd be happy. I'm just gonna go and read. See, this one's interesting because there's like a symbol left on it, and I feel the same way about this one by Rachel Lynch. This one is left with a roll of banknotes, which is just intriguing to see the moral conversation behind these books. So I feel like I want to keep Perfect Silence and Deep Fear. However, I am aware, I think I've started Perfect Silence before and put it down. I really wanted this when it first came out, but I've recently read Another Lucy Fowley on my Kindle app and I really disliked it, so I'm not sure I'm gonna love this. So it's like a maybe, I think. This one is so old, but it sounds so good still. Your phone rings, a stranger has kidnapped your child. To free them, you must abduct someone else's child. Your child will be released when your victim's parents kidnap another child. If any of these things don't happen, your child will be killed. Victim, survivor, abductor, criminal, you will become each one. You're now part of the chain. This sounds just intriguing to me still, so I feel like I want to keep that one. Someone's used personal burial ground, convent abandoned long ago, and bodies dating back many years. Could this be the work of an obsessed serial killer? The investigation throws up more questions than evidence mount, but after the last disastrous case, you know what? I'm not sure I'm very interested in the sound of this on the back. This is going to go in the maybe pile. The Val McDavid's going in the maybe pile. Lauren Butte spoke on monsters. She's never hunted a killer as deadly. Something strange is happening in Detroit. Hybrid bodies are turning up, half animal, half human. For Detective Gabby Verso, they are the work of a twisted monster who surpasses even Murder City's most brutal criminals, and he's only just begun. For failed artist Clayson Broom, they are his greatest work. Life destroyed his dreams, so now he's found new ones. The question is, can Gabby find him before the person she loves most is drawn into his nightmare? That sounds very intriguing, very dark, almost like horror-y. Do you know what? I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. I'm gonna unhaul it. I'm just not intrigued in it anymore. I've kept 4 here. Do I need to keep Val McDermott as well? Let's go through the maybe pile. Okay, here is our maybe pile. Let's see. I'm gonna read the synopsis of some of these and see how we're feeling. Let's start with 9th house. Stern, most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class, a dropout and the road survivor of a horrific unsolved crime. Alex was hoping for a fresh start, but her free ride comes with a catch. She has been tasked with monitoring Yale's secret society's notorious haunts of the rich and powerful. Now there's a dead girl on campus, and Alex is the only person willing to look deeper because the societies are far more sinister and extraordinary than anyone has imagined. They tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. Do you know what? For someone who has a Waterstones exclusive edition of this book, I'm just not interested. I'm going to unhaul. I'm never going to choose it over these books that are sat in front of me right now that I'm keeping. I'm stuck on this one still because I like the sound of it, but I just don't know if I'm ever going to read it. Do you know what? If I don't know, it's going. It's going. I can always repurchase it or come back to it at a later date. I feel excessively guilty about this because my mum really enjoyed this one, but I think I'm going to get rid of How the Dead Speak by Velma Dermid. I'm doing it. I am doing it. These ones are tricky. FDA, she's utterly repelled by the fact of her fiction writing cohort, a cliche. I don't think I want to read this. I'm just not really interested in it. I don't think I was ever really interested in it. I think there was a lot of hype around it. I think I used to watch a booktuber who loved this book, and that's why I brought it, and it's just not for me. It's just not for me. That leaves these two. We've got Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. I remember reading like the first chapter of this and thinking it was pretty good. Again, this is one, was I ever really interested in this, or was it sold to me? I think I'm gonna get rid of it. Oh no! I don't know if you just saw that, but that stack just fell over. Last one, The Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. I've tried reading this a couple of times and I've not enjoyed it. Am I ever going to finish this series? I'm going to hold on to it for now, but it's not a definite. It's definitely one that's still on the fence, I feel. Okay, let's count up how many books we got rid of. We definitely got rid of more than 5, which I'm proud of myself for. I'm proud. It seems wasteful, but I'm proud. I needed to do this. I needed to finally do this on the day where I was ready to be brutal. I feel like I was. Let's speed through the books I unhauled. So this is what the stack is looking like. It has fallen over. But those are all the books that we just unhauled. Let's go back through them and show you guys some more. Some of them will be up on my Vinted, not all of them. And others will be in charity shops and donated or gifted to my family and friends who are interested in them. So I'm gonna do it from here. Weird angle, but it's fine. We are unhauling The Witch's Kiss by Catherine and Elizabeth Kaur. I think if I did take time to read this, I would probably enjoy it, but I just have so many others that I'm going to reach for first over this on my TBR currently. It's to the second and third book in the Live Ship Traders series. This is the second, this is the third, by Robin Hobb. I just feel like I brought these way too soon. I'm not ready to read them, and someone else can love them and read them before I evidently go back to reading this series. What else have we got here? We've got this one, which is so old, The Green Mile by Stephen King. I don't think I'm ever going to read it, so it's got to go. Couple of thrillers. How the Dead Speak by Val McDermid. My mum loved it. I did buy this with my own money, full price. And then I have Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, which I had before literally my first year of college, so it's like 5 years old, and I haven't read it. We have a couple that were like harder to let go of. Lessons in Chemistry, I do believe, will be a beautiful story. However, it's just not something that I'm intrigued by. Same along with Bunny. I know loads of people love this, and I think this was just sold to me by other booktubers who read similar books to me, but they also enjoy literary fiction, and I just don't necessarily enjoy literary fiction, and I'm not going to force myself to try anymore. This one is a fantasy, probably the only fantasy that I'm unhauling today. First Apartment I am letting go of because I didn't enjoy the second book that I read by her. Ninth House by Lee Verdugo I'm getting rid of because I don't really like dark academia books. I've learned this over the last year and a half. I just don't like them. Don't enjoy them. They're not my highest rated books, and I will never choose to continue them. Also, this is a Waterstones exclusive edition, so I'm sure that someone who is a die-hard fan of this book would love to have the Waterstones exclusive edition. We also have 3 classics I originally brought from the works. We have Treasure Island, we have The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and we have Gulliver's Travels. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Just don't think, again, I'm ever going to get around to it. Same goes for Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Also just think my time to read Colleen Hoover books has come and passed now. So I'm getting rid of Verity, and I'm also letting go of Never Never. Out of the 2, I would be more inclined to read Never Never than Verity, but I'm just not really intrigued by either of them. So I'm going to unhaul them both. And that is the unhaul, and we have unhauled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 books. Round of applause to me. 19, 20, including the 2 that I'm going to unhaul from my Kindle app. So I'm going to go ahead and work my way through my reading lists to delete these books from my current physical TBR lists. And then I'm going to take pictures, upload them to Vinted if I'm selling the books, and then I'm going to take them to my secondhand charity bookshop maybe tomorrow for the ones that I'm donating. So yeah, and then we can try and reorganise all our books onto the TBR trolley, and hopefully they will all fit on this one trolley. I am so unbelievably proud of myself. I just finished finding the last book on my physical TBR list to take off. Guys, my official TBR count is 54 books. So currently now on my physical TBR, I only have 9 books I had prior to 2023. So that can be anywhere prior to 2023. So it could be from when I was in college. It could be from earlier than that, like 2022, anywhere from there. So yeah, I only have 9 books that I purchased prior to 2023 left on my TBR, which is such a big goal of mine. My big goal this year was to kind of either half the amount or to get rid of / read them all. And I'm definitely in a good place there. And I also have one of those I'm halfway through. So I think that's pretty good. I feel really proud of myself for this. This has been a long time coming, but I am someone who, this sounds really stupid, right? But I cannot unhaul books unless I'm in the mood to declutter and unhaul. All the books that I am holding on to, first thing says I'm going to go ahead and organise them before I start putting them on my trolley. Okay, I tend to organise this trolley by least to most excited by, apart from the top shelf has to have all my hardbacks on. So the top shelf's not going to look that much different. I think at the bottom we're going to have my classics. Then I think we're going to have my thrillers, crime books, all of those. We have the Reorganising and the Cookies Calling, which I'm going to hold off to one side for a second. The other thing that's going to go on this bottom shelf is going to be the books from series that I haven't read, like the first book in, but I hold on to, I have the next book, as well as my epic high fantasy. So we're going to put Ship of Magic down here, and then I'm going to put in the Cookies Calling and Where the Crawdads Sing as well. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for now down here. I'm also going to put From New Cover of Love down here. I'm so happy with how this is, oh my god, I'm so happy with how this is looking. All the books are on here minus Crime Punishment, because I'm currently reading it, so it doesn't need to go on there, but it can still fit on the back side of the front shelf. So all of my hardbacks have to go on top because they don't actually fit nicely on these shelves, or if they do, they're ridiculously hard to get out. So chuffed. I need to choose my next read. I really want to finish Iron Flame at some point, but I'm just not really in the mood. I feel like I'm more in a romance mood. And I was watching Hayley Pham's new video, which is only reading romance books for a week, and I think I want to pick up Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I just feel like it's time. This is her new release. It's part of her Lakefront Billionaires series. I find this such an interesting trope because to me it's so unrealistic, but I'm very excited. So I think I'm going to settle down and read this. I'm going to use my new magnetic bookmark. Oh wow, sneak peek of the new shelves, I guess. Here's the fact the books are still on the floor that we unhauled earlier. But I am currently 150 pages through Love Redesigned. I'm really enjoying it. I think their banter is good. The one thing I'm concerned about is that the reason that they don't get along or broke up is because of the death of a parent or parental figure, and then in which case I feel as though it wasn't really warranted. Very interesting conversations going on so far about depression and anxiety. Our main female character definitely suffers with depression and anxiety, and I feel as though there's a lot of mental health rep in here, which is interesting. I didn't know that going in, so I'm also really enjoying that. But of course, check trigger warnings for yourselves before you go into a book. But yeah, I'm on page 150. I'm hoping to maybe get to page like 300. I don't know if I actually will today, but we'll see. I've got a couple of days to just read now and chill, so that's my plan for the next couple of days, if I'm being completely honest. Got relatively far through Love Redesigned last night by Lauren Asher. I actually got to chapter 31, which is page 307. I did say I was probably gonna get to page 300. I definitely could have read more last night, but I just kind of felt ready to stop and I didn't want to burn myself out of reading. But yeah, really I'm enjoying this. Again, I still feel a bit annoyed about the conflict between the two, and I honestly wish that something more drastic happened, and I understand that what happened hurt her and things like that, but it's also not like the right reason to hate each other. We've kind of got, there's a lot of tropes in this book. You've got like the one bed trope, you've also got kind of like that lovers to enemies to lovers vibe going on, and you've also got friends with benefits going on, which is also really bizarre and strange. But I will say one thing for me that really annoys me is when characters clearly like each other, clearly have feelings for each other, they've had them for years, and one small thing has made them not be together for years. And I honestly truly feel like this is kind of like the trope in here. Hey guys, it is Sunday. Guys, I just finished Love Redesigned. I got to page 400 yesterday, so I feel as though I've read from page 400 to 530. I was really worried that there was going to be a third act conflict, and my one thing about books this size of romance, I can normally get behind them. I don't really complain about the length too much, but I do complain if there's a third act conflict in the last 50 pages. Like, come on, get it together. You've had 500 plus pages to not have a third act conflict. And I do feel like what was the third act conflict that wasn't at the very end was actually quite like a reasonable third act conflict, and it didn't feel like an unreasonable disconnect between characters. My rating is like very conflicting for this book, because 4 stars doesn't feel high enough. No, 4 stars. 3 stars doesn't feel high enough, but 4 stars feels too high. But then 3.5 I've given to other books that I would say I enjoyed more than this. One thing that I do wish we got was a little bit more of Delilah by herself, which I know is like a weird thing to request from a romance book, but I feel like it would have been really worthwhile to see more of Delilah's healing process with therapy sessions and things like that. We are in one of her first therapy sessions right at the beginning of the book, but we don't actually see or hear much more about the therapy as we go through. And I just think in terms of mental health rep, I think it would have been almost more powerful for readers to have those meetings in here. Although hard, it could have been like a very elegant way to show more Good morning, lovely people. It is Monday morning. I'm not sure how long I'm going to do this reading vlog for, because we have been vlogging since Friday now, but we've done a weekend. We might even do a week, see through to Friday. Yeah, I just parked up for my work, but I am honestly significantly early. Last night I picked up The Serpent and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is going to be my next read. I got to page 95, which is chapter 9. I don't know if it's because I was really anxious yesterday, or if it was just that I was tired last night, because I did end up picking this up at like 8 p.m. I'm enjoying this. A lot of people say this jumps you straight into the action, and it does, but it also kind of doesn't. It's really confusing, because to get a grip on all of the terms used is very interesting. And I actually found yesterday accidentally that there is a glossary at the back. One thing that I wish authors would do is, if you have a glossary, put it in like the first couple of pages that there's a glossary at the back, because knowing that this glossary was here would have been so bloody helpful for me at the very beginning in chapter 1, because so many terms were flown around that it was like difficult to distinguish who was who, what each thing meant. And there's definitely some fantasy terms here, and normally I don't really look at glossaries depending on like what I'm reading. Like classics, I don't tend to read the glossary. I tend to just fill it in my head what it is, because I kind of can get the meaning of the word from where the context that it's used in. But with fantasy, like how am I meant to guess that Asteris is a form of magical energy wielded by night-born vampires derived from the stars, rare and difficult to use, requiring significant skill and energy? How am I going to know that without anyone explaining it to me? It was great, because the thing that happened was like so shocking and everything, but it's the fact that she was like, that was definitely Asteris. Love, I don't know what Asteris is. That should be explained. Is it just me that feels that way? And I feel like it's quite contradictory, because sometimes they say like books over explain worlds before you get into it, but actually this needed some type of pre-context, and I kind of understand why there isn't any context prior, because our main character is now 18, 20, I don't actually know how old she is, but she's now of an age to compete in these trials, right? But in competing in these trials, she has been part of this world for a long time now, so she kind of understands how everything's working, which I get, but as a reader we also kind of need to understand how the world works, otherwise we are not going to get anywhere. A quick reading update. The Serpent and Wings of Night. I am so happy to report I am loving this right now. I was literally gasping out loud at some moments in here, and I definitely feel like at the beginning I felt like we were being told things instead of shown or described, whereas now we're definitely getting it described. And it could just be, again, like I said, that I was really tired when I read the first 100-ish pages of the book. There's a character in here that I feel like is not as good as they seem, and I feel like it might shock people as to who I think that is, but I don't want to put spoilers out there. But I really don't think they are good, and they're someone who's been there the whole life for this character, and I just feel, I don't know, there's just something about them that feels like they have an ulterior motive for why they want this person to do these things. I'm absolutely loving the trials. I do love myself a trials book though. Hey everybody, it is Thursday. It's kind of like evening now, or it is evening. But yeah, I came to talk to you guys about The Serpent and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Oh my goodness, did I make a chunk of progress in this last night. I literally came home, had some talks with Luke, we had some dinner, it was really nice, and then I just sat and read on the sofa for hours until it got to 10 p.m. I got up to page 489 in this yesterday. Look how little I have left now. I am absolutely loving this book. I'm not sure that it's going to be 5 stars, which is very bizarre. I feel like I've been really specific with my 5-star ratings recently this year. I feel like I've actually given more 5 stars to romances recently than I have to fantasy and fantasy romances. Also, by the way, the thing that I thought was going to happen, and the person that I thought was going to be a hypocrite and like a backstabbing and have ulterior motives, I was completely right about, and also we had a flashback somewhere in here that said something interesting that I thought he definitely is. I'm 100% right, and I've been right since the beginning of this book, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. I do think that the execution has been good. I finished Serpents and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, and I feel so conflicted. And also some of the things that one of the characters that I really liked in here said some really disgusting things in the end of this book. Like, really disgusting. I end up rating this 4 stars on Fable, but I'm yet to review it because I just feel not conflicted, but I don't feel like obsessed, but I don't feel like I hate it, but I also feel like I want to know what happens. I'm like in a really weird like limbo with it. Like, I really enjoyed it. I flew through it, but I just feel do you know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. But I am excited to read the next book when it finally does come out in the UK. And the next book that I decided to pick up from my bookshelves, from my TBR trolley, is Iron Flame. I did say I would probably do this, but I have been 370 pages through, which is chapter 40, since I picked this up back in November. And I will say, in November and December I really did have a really rough mental health patch, and I just wasn't reading a lot in general, and I was really struggling to get into books. Hey guys, sorry if you can hear my neighbours, and I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I am not very well. I've had a fever all day and I've been pushing, so I've decided to just stop pushing. I got changed into some like looser pajamas because I was overheating so bad, and I'm kind of hoping to finish this today, but if I don't finish it today I won't be upset. I'll try and finish it tomorrow instead. I would like to finish it today. Luke is gonna have 2 weeks of work soon, which is lovely. Today's like his last shift before he gets 2 weeks off. But yeah, he finishes work at 6 p.m. so and it is currently 10 minutes to 4, so hopefully I can finish the book by then. aware. My hair looks extremely greasy. I do have a hair mask in, just to let everyone know, but it is still a mess either way you look at it. I'm gonna need you to completely skip the end of this video if you do not want spoilers for Iron Flame. And if you didn't know, Iron Flame is the second book to Fourth Wing. So if you have not read Fourth Wing and you have intentions of reading Fourth Wing and then of course Iron Flame, skip ahead. And I'm not saying that this is a negative review. This is definitely going to be a 4.5 to 5-star read. I thought for a second it wasn't going to be because I've had such a long gap between reading this book. Guys, I spent pretty much the whole of 2 books hating Violet's mother. Hating her. Tell me why she died and I spent the whole time sobbing, particularly when we got her quote, where is it? I've got it tabbed up, which literally says, most generals dream of dying in service of their kingdom, but you know me better than that, my love. When I fall, it will be for one reason only, to protect our children. Sorry, someone get me a break. I literally hated this woman the whole way through this book, the whole way through Fourth Wing, and I've just been shattered completely and I feel guilty because I hated her so much. Alas, all of it was for her children, so can't compute that. My brain can't compute. Also, the ending with Xaden, he did not have to turn. And then the fact that he goes and speaks to Jack out of everyone. Of course Jack's not going to give him the fucking truth, but then also you've got the worry of, like, at the end it literally says that he's going to be the villain in Violet's story. How? And how is him being a villain protecting... Oh, I'm so confused. I understand why he made that decision, because it felt like Violet was going to leave, like kill herself to save everyone. However, the fact that he made that decision before she died kind of upsets me significantly. Also, the fact that we got fucking Xaden's POV after being revealed to Violet had me screaming and crying and sobbing. I was very nervous. I almost wish his POV was longer in some ways, because I kind of wish we got more of his thought process whilst he was in that situation. Like, what made him... I understand what made him finally do it, but we don't really get to see how he was exactly changed or what he did to change himself. I've seen a lot of shorts about this book being way shorter if Xaden and Violet just communicated, but I feel as though you have to remember that at the end of Fourth Wing, he had been keeping so many secrets from her and so many things that she would have agreed upon and everything like that. And although I understand his reasoning, the way that she felt betrayed, she had every right to act how she did in this book. It did get a bit frustrating. They kind of like ran around in circles, like ask me a question. Like, he was pissing me off because he was like, she has to ask a question to be able to get to know something. Like, no, if you hear something and you think it's going to value her, why don't you just tell her? Also, the fact that Xaden has 2 powers, mind-boggling. I hadn't picked up on that element. I knew there had to be someone who had double, because they were saying, because it was written down basically, and people were saying that if you bond with another dragon that's within a family line, you get both like powers. You get both powers because the powers are related to the dragons. I didn't expect Xaden to be one of those, even though his grandfather did bond with a dragon in Soror's line. Also, I'm so unsure what's going to happen with Xaden's dragon and with Tarn as well, because obviously Tarn and Zagel can't be separated, so I'm curious about that. I'm also just heartbroken I have to wait until January for the next book. Yeah, I'm going to end this video here. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'd like to see more videos from me, and I'll catch you guys all in my next one. Bye!